Hello networkers, and welcome back to another episode of Ask the Network Engineer, where I will answer one of your questions. And this question comes from HD Flight Sim, and he asks, satisfying answers, thanks a lot, in regards to one of our episodes for Ask the Network Engineer. One question though, what about a guy who searched everywhere for entry level in networking, having a CCNP with routing and switching, a CCDA, and a CCNA in security? I can't seem to bypass the experience level required in entry-level jobs. Companies do not even give you a chance to prove your capabilities, even if you have no experience. Thanks again for your words. They do help us. And he had a very similar question as well that he posted as well. So let's talk about this. There's one thing that I realize in the world of you or people wanting to be a network engineer is basically the chicken and the egg concept. Okay? Now what we mean by that is, what came first, the chicken or the egg? Well, that's basically the same thing when it comes to a person in the context of this channel of being a network engineer. Being certified is easily obtainable. Okay, you get the necessary material, you get your books, your video content, you go to a class, you study for it, and you get certified. CCNA, CCNP, even your CCIE. You can get the equipment, study hard, you can be certified. That is something you can control, something that is obtainable. But what about job experience? That's not as easy as getting a certification. So how does that process work? So many of your questions have been about exactly what HD Flight Sim has asked. You're certified, but you're not getting the opportunities to get the experience to be a network engineer. And in return, you are frustrated. So I actually did a lot of research. I saw this question and I really said, let me put myself into their shoes. So what I did was I did job searching with minimal job experience. I said, let's pretend that I have 1 year experience with desktops and servers, something simple like that. What jobs exist? Entry-level jobs for something in the networking field, even with technical support or help desk, that sort of thing. So I went to LinkedIn, I went to Craigslist, Monster, Dice, I went to various job sites. And it's amazing because one of the sites I went to, I said entry level, and I found some networking jobs, but they required 3, 4, 6 years experience. And I kind of read the description and I said, oh, they miswrote the job description. It should have been a network engineer or a senior network engineer, not a network technician. Because usually it's like HR people that are writing these job descriptions. It's very, very frustrating though. Okay, it's not network managers writing this information. Oh, sorry, network engineers writing job descriptions that are relevant for the jobs that a company wants to hire. So it was amazing. I was finding entry-level jobs according to these job postings that required 3+ years experience, which was not really correct because of the requirements that they wanted, like with routing and switching and data center. That's not entry-level stuff. So I really quickly felt what the pain was, that you are getting certified, but it is difficult to get the job experience. So I actually had to think back. I went through my old notes, like 10 years ago. I looked at my old notes and figured out, how in the hell did I get here as a network engineer? Let me really give that some serious thought. And I found it very interesting. Now, I talked about some of these things in other episodes, but I'm going to give you the 3 particular things that have really guided me on the path to be a network engineer successfully. So let's talk more about that. So when I started out early on in my career, okay, I talked about this a lot in different episodes on this channel. I started out doing desktop work. So I was a desktop technician. And when I was in college, I knew, actually, I don't know how I knew about this, but I knew that I needed to have job experience before I graduated from college. I think it was probably a teacher or people, they said, you gotta have job experience before you graduate because companies want job experience. Now, I didn't know what that meant until I actually was hired at Cisco. Then it all made perfect sense. So I'm in college, my second year in college. I was in the engineering program. And I remember a roommate of mine, he made a suggestion to me. And remember, this is back in 1995 or 1996. This is a long time ago for me. But this roommate of mine in college, he said, Mike, because I told him that I'm looking for a job, but I just want the experience. I said, that's what I want. I want job experience. So he said, why not put on your resume? Make it very clear that you are willing to work for free, basically volunteer. And that way, you're getting paid from experience. They're not giving you money. And I was thinking like, well, yes, but I don't think companies will fall for that. So I was like 18 or 19 at the time. So I didn't think that would actually work. I really didn't know. But he said, no, because you are trying to get experience. And a company may look at that as a very positive thing though. And if they don't, and they still bring you in anyway, you can just take advantage of that situation. If they bring you in, you just learn everything. Just be involved in all the projects, help out with all the grunt work. All of that is experience that you can put on your resume. So that's what I did. I said, fine. I put on my resume, I am willing to work for free to gain work experience. I wrote that on my actual resume for the description or for the intro. Within a week or two, I got a job opportunity from a company called Unisys. And I went in for the interview. It was an internship, but they called me in because I was willing to work for free. They said that really meant that you were passionate about learning. We like people like that. That means that you have a mindset of learning and enhancing your capabilities. They still paid me, by the way. It was just that idea of them doing that. Now, for me personally, I didn't care if they did pay me though. I was just excited about that opportunity. So I went into that company and I did desktop work. I changed out hard drives. I put in like modem cards. We had modems back in the day. We didn't really have DSL or cable back then. I put in that kind of stuff. I did troubleshooting. And guess what? I did desktop stuff. But I would be everywhere within that company, within the IT department. And I would go around the server people and say, hey, can I just watch you install a server? I just want to watch. And if you want me to do some simple stuff like whatever, let me know. So some of them would say, yes, go ahead and install Windows NT server. Install this, please. Cool. I went ahead and I did that. Not knowing everything I did was job experience that I put on that resume. I took advantage of all of that. I went around the entire IT department. I was a very humble guy. I was very excited, very young too though. And not knowing, I got my hands involved in everything. So when I left that company, everything that I learned, desktop, server, basic networking, I put all that on my resume. And the point is, to this particular section, is that it was because of free, I was willing to work for free, or basically be a volunteer. So that is something that you can consider if it is applicable to you. You may not be in college, so you may not have the resources to work for free. You have to work to provide for yourself and for your family. We don't have money trees in our backyard, so I understand that. But you may consider that as something on the side, or if you are in college, definitely take advantage of that. Be willing to work for free. And a company can say, wow, okay. You can go in and say, I just want the job experience. You do not have to pay me anything. I just want to be involved and just be behind the scenes, watch your network engineers, your server administrators do their jobs. I can take notes. And if there's some basic stuff I can do, let me just do some of that basic stuff. And the only thing I ask in return is I'm going to put this experience on my resume and possibly use you as a reference that I was part of the team to do these type of projects. And basically in return, I get job experience. So companies will like that. They can save money in this way, and it could be a good way of you getting into the company officially. So that is something that you might really, really want to consider, and that is the opportunity of volunteering, working for free, being in these environments to gain the experience that way. The second thing is going through a contracting agency. And that's how I got into Cisco. So really, when I became a network engineer, it was when I was hired at Cisco. And I didn't go to job sites, I didn't go to at the time they didn't have LinkedIn or Craigslist, things like that. At the time they had some other job sites. And I applied for jobs during that time, but it wasn't for being a network engineer. And the only thing I know was I went through a contract agency. Now, I do not know the name of the actual company that I went through, but a contract agency is like Robert Half Technology. I think that's the name of it, Robert Half. That's considered as a contract agency. And the great thing about those companies is that you can go into that environment and say, look, I want to be a network engineer. I have desktop, I have some server experience. I just want something that can get me to the path of being a network engineer. So what they do is they do an assessment. They sit you down and they say, okay, you're in front of the computer, take this multiple choice test. Basically, it's like taking your CCNA test, basically. So being certified should help you of doing good on those tests. And the reason why these tests are important is that these contract agencies are trying to figure out your skill level for networking. So basically what happens is there are some companies that are looking for networking people or technical support people. So they go through a contracting agency. So they don't have to deal with trying to do onesie twosies, trying to find different people, and that's applying for jobs. These companies can go to a contract agency and they can provide the talent to that particular company. That's what a contract agency is. So your contract could be for 3 months, could be 6 months, it could be even lead to a hire. But that is still a very, very good opportunity. And that was how I got my job at Cisco. That I got a phone call one day. I was working at some company, and I got a phone call saying, yes, we come from this contracting agency, and one of our clients, Cisco, are looking for people for their technical support team. And we saw your resume, you have some good desktop experience, good server experience, and we want you, if you're interested in the opportunity. I said, sure. So basically I went down that path and I worked at Cisco. Now, of course, after a year I quit, but the point is that was where it really started for me. I went through a contract agency that basically gave me the opportunity to be a network engineer. Because once I was in Cisco, I took advantage of all of that. The resources, their labs, the experience, I just did everything. Because all of that went down on the resume. And that's what matters though. Everything counts. Everything counts. But the point is that might be another alternative to consider. That instead of actually looking for network engineering jobs, if that isn't working out, go through a contract agency like Robert Half. There's many of them out there. I don't know all of them out there. So do your research, find out what exists and contact them. And basically, something could come from that. And you can tell them exactly what you're trying to achieve. That I'm trying to get into networking. This is the experience that I have. This is the certifications that I have. And I want the opportunity to gain more experience so I can be a full-fledged network engineer. So that's something I would strongly recommend for people that are having challenges of just looking for network engineering jobs. And that is looking for contract agencies and having them help you to basically get the jobs of being a network engineer. Now, I just want to give you a little bit of a caution. Some contract agencies, they collect resumes. So nothing could happen. Some of them will be effective. So just keep that in the back of your mind that this one may work, this one may not work for going through a contracting agency, but it is still a better path to get you where you really want to be. The other thing when it comes to gaining the experience is, well, do your own consulting. That's actually how I started out with RouteHub in the very beginning. I need to get clients, right? I'm starting a new company. This is like 10 years ago when I started RouteHub. I needed to gain clients, okay? And that's going to be challenging. So I just posted job, like I posted things on Craigslist. Tell them that, hey, I'm a senior network engineer. This is basically my experience. This is my rates, basically advertising. And my first client was a customer in San Francisco. And from there, I started getting more customers. So my company grew really large where I don't need to use Craigslist anymore. I basically have that kind of foundation. But you can do that for basically freelancing. You can actually post on these websites, on Craigslist, that, hey, I do Cisco consulting. Okay, keep it very simple. Because most of these projects, they are very simple. They're things like, we need help configuring a firewall. Okay, that's where you have control of that. You got your certifications and you can just learn. Like our website has a lot of particular video series on configuring like firewalls, routers, and switches, things like that. So you can learn how to configure a firewall and then you can advertise and say, hey, I can help you configure your firewall. If you want to be gutsy, you can say you can do it for free. But that's your choice. That's your choice though. But doing consulting, advertising that on Craigslist or other classified websites, that can definitely get you the experience right off the bat. And that is valid experience because companies just want to know that you have working experience with production networks. That's what they really care about. So you can post this on Craigslist, that you can configure firewall, you can configure whatever you're comfortable with. You can list all this on a Craigslist ad. And then basically, have a very affordable rate. People will call you and you can gain that experience. You may be on site and actually install it, connect the cables. That's experience that goes right on that resume. So that is something you can definitely do. I see a lot of stuff on there. Also, before I wrap this up, there's also a lot of people on Craigslist that ask for networking assistance. I see that all the time. I see people that say things like, I need assistance configuring a firewall. I need assistance configuring this router. Respond to them and say, hey, I can definitely help you with that. And here's my resume. I am certified. Certifications is really a big plus. It gives the company something that they know how to measure. Like, oh, they're certified. Okay. So that is something you can do as well. You can look for these opportunities on these classified websites. And Craigslist has a lot of that listed there. So take advantage of that. Don't just, sit there. Just go out there and see what you can do, what you can offer, so that you can get the job experience that you really need to put that on that resume. So when the time comes, you have all this experience on there so that when you apply on jobs through LinkedIn, you can say, I have job experience. I have worked with numerous clients on different type of networks. That's a big plus because most people kind of work maybe at 1, 2, or 3 companies. When you're a consultant, you work in many different environments. So for me personally, as a consultant and as a network architect, I have experience in a whole wide range of different customers and different markets, different business sizes. And that's probably the best thing I have ever did as a network engineer is being a consultant because of the kind of experience that I have. So that means you should look into doing consulting or freelancing on the side to get your experience. And another thing that I want to bring up very quickly, and I talked about this in many episodes, but it's still important and still very valuable. If you want to be a network engineer or do something in the networking field starting out, you do want to go to network company websites. That means if you want to work for Cisco, if you want to do networking, focus around Cisco technologies and Cisco products, go to cisco.com, go to jobs, and that's probably the best place to look for networking opportunities. Because that's a big networking environment though. Whether it's a sales engineer, you're doing marketing, you're doing help desk, everything is networking focused. So I tell people, if you really want to be a network engineer, go to network-centric companies like Cisco, maybe even with Palo Alto Networks, even with FortiGate, many of these companies, because these are networking companies. So go to those websites directly, go to the jobs and see what opportunities are there. That is also your best bet as well. And we are done with this episode for Ask the Network Engineer. So thank you very much, HD Flight Sim, for the honest, direct question. Your question really speaks for the community of viewers on this channel. That you're doing what is necessary, you're staying focused, you're getting certified, but you're struggling with the job experience aspect of it. So as I mentioned before, as a recap in this video, you want to consider the opportunities of maybe volunteering, working for free, keeping that option out there. Number two, maybe going through a contract agency that can work with you to find the right kind of jobs that can allow you to move up and to be a network engineer. That is possible. It happened to me. It can definitely happen for you. And number three, which is probably really effective, do a little bit of side work, consulting work, networking. Look for opportunities out there and say, hey, I can help you with that. I can do it for $50 an hour. Because you care about the job experience, not about the money. That is very, very important. Because with the job experience, you will get the jobs that pay a lot of money. Trust me, the money is there. Okay. And once again, you also want to look for job searching within the network-centric tech companies like Cisco, for example. So thank you for, again, your wonderful question. And I want to hear from you guys. So post your questions about anything in the networking field or being a network engineer in the comments below, and your question will eventually come up in a future episode on this channel. So if you like this video, please like this video. Please subscribe to our channel. That means a lot. Please check out our practical training that we have on our website, routehub.net, where we configure or show you step-by-step configuration for a number of network technologies and solutions, firewalls, voice, routing and switching, and so forth. So check that out for more information. And I want to thank you for watching this video. It means a lot. And I'll see you guys next time.